Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're getting into something really vital for, well, anyone operating at a high level. How you handle your mindset when the pressure's really on.
Absolutely. Whether you're business, coaching, sports, that mental game is often the differentiator.
And you need insights that work fast, no fluff. So that's what we're aiming for here.
Right. And we're drawing heavily today from the insights of Coach Ed Padalecki. He's identified these three common ways people react under pressure, what he calls personas: prayerful, primal, and perfect.
Prayerful, primal, perfect.
Yeah.
Okay.
And our mission really is to help you understand these, see maybe which one you lean towards, and then figure out how to shift to a more neutral, effective mindset. That's where peak performance happens.
Makes sense. So let's start with Coach P's first one, the prayerful. What does that actually look like?
So the prayerful persona, according to Coach Padalecki, it's basically hoping things will turn out okay without you taking direct, deliberate action.
Okay. So like in business.
You might see someone just hoping a client gets back to them, or hoping a struggling project somehow fixes itself, or maybe a leader who's hoping their team just figures out a conflict instead of stepping in.
It's passive then, relying on chance almost.
Exactly. It's hope without the necessary action backing it up. Coach P is clear. Hope isn't a performance strategy. It needs to translate into actual steps.
Got it. So you listening need to ask, do I sometimes fall into just hoping for the best when things get tough?
That's the first check. Now, the second one Coach P talks about is the primal persona.
Primal. Okay, what's the deal there?
Primal is all about immediate reaction. It's that urge to just speed up, push harder, do more, try to overwhelm the challenge with sheer force or activity.
So like suddenly your inbox explodes with emails, or you're cramming meetings in back to back.
Precisely. Or a leader who instantly starts micromanaging or issuing rapid-fire directives when something goes slightly wrong. It feels like you're doing something, but
It's that fight or flight response maybe, but applied in the wrong context, like in an office.
that's a great way to put it. And Coach Padalecki points out that while it feels energetic, it often just amplifies mistakes. It creates more tension, more errors, because you're rushing.
Not very strategic.
Not at all. High performers, they tend to prioritize staying composed, thinking clearly, rather than just reacting with brute force. So again, for you listening, does pressure make you just want to muscle through without a clear plan? That could be primal.
Okay, that makes sense. Then the third one is the perfect persona. This one sounds like it could snare a lot of high achievers.
Oh, definitely. It's a big one. The perfect persona is essentially freezing up because you're chasing flawlessness. You delay, you wait for the ideal moment, the perfect plan, absolute certainty, which rarely comes.
Right, waiting for all the stars to align perfectly.
Exactly. In business, maybe it's delaying a product launch for tiny, insignificant tweaks, or a leader hesitating on a key decision because they want all the data, even if it's impossible to get.
The classic paralysis by analysis, perfect being the enemy of good.
That's it, exactly. Striving for excellence is good, obviously. But Coach Padalecki warns that letting the pursuit of some abstract perfection stop you from acting, that's counterproductive. Sometimes good enough and moving forward is way better.
Keeps the momentum going.
It does. So the reflection point here is, have you ever been stuck, unable to move, because things didn't feel absolutely perfect? That's the perfect persona at play.
Okay, so we have prayerful hoping, primal reacting muscling, and perfect freezing hesitating.
Right. So now, for you listening, think about a recent time you felt real pressure. Based on Coach Ed Padalecki's descriptions, which of those three feels most like your default setting? Are you hoping, rushing, waiting?
And Coach P really stresses that just identifying your go-to reaction is like the most critical first step.
It absolutely is. That self-awareness is everything. It lets you catch yourself when you start slipping into one of those modes.
So you can actually do something about it.
Exactly. And that's where Coach Padalecki introduces the goal, the neutral mindset. This isn't about not having emotions. It's about managing them.
Okay, so not being robotic, but being in control.
Precisely. Coach P has a great line. Play with emotion. Don't become emotional. It's about using that energy, that focus, constructively.
And it connects back to the perfect thing too, right? Focusing on excellence, not impossible perfection.
Yes, definitely. Focus on excellence. Prioritize action over getting stuck. And crucially, believe in your ability to adapt. You don't need the perfect plan from the start if you trust you can handle things as they unfold.
So neutral is about being present, adaptable, and action-oriented.
That's the core of it, trusting yourself to navigate the situation.
All right, this is great. But how do we actually build this neutral strategy? What are the practical steps Coach Padalecki suggests?
Okay, so Coach P lays out some clear next steps. First, identify your trigger moments.
Ah, like what situations usually set off your prayerful, primal, or perfect response?
Exactly. What kind of pressure, what specific circumstances, maybe even what internal feelings. Noticing those patterns is step one. You could even jot them down.
Okay, identify the triggers. Then what?
Step two, according to Coach Ed Padalecki, is create your micro adjustments. These are small, pre-planned actions you can use the moment you feel yourself slipping into one of the personas.
Like little course corrections.
Exactly. Maybe it's taking 3 deep breaths to counter that primal urge to rush, or asking yourself a specific question like, what's one small action I can take now to break out of prayerful hoping or perfect freezing?
So having a little toolkit ready to go.
Precisely. And the third key step Coach P emphasizes is reflection. After the pressure situation is over, take a few minutes. Ask yourself, did I notice my trigger? Did I use my micro adjustment? How did it work? What could I do differently next time?
Making it a learning loop.
Yes, absolutely. That consistent reflection makes you get better and better at recognizing and shifting your mindset much faster right in the moment.
So it's the cycle. Awareness of triggers, having those micro adjustments ready, and then learning from each experience.
That's the process. And Coach Padalecki's main point, really, is that the best performers aren't immune to pressure. They're just really skilled at noticing when they're off balance and deliberately resetting themselves back to neutral.
Okay, so wrapping this up, the big takeaway as you face your next challenge is to ask yourself, based on Coach P's ideas, am I just hoping? Am I reacting blindly? Am I stuck waiting for perfect?
Or are you managing your response? Are you acting with clarity, with confidence, and with control? That shift starts with knowing yourself.
That self-awareness piece seems incredibly powerful for mastering both your mind and the moment.
It truly is.
So really think about which of Coach P's personas, prayerful, primal, or perfect, you see in yourself, and maybe start thinking about one small micro adjustment you could try next time. Thanks for taking this deep dive with us.